Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham says today was the last day in the House of Assembly before the next general election. The prison chief answers to justices of the Court of Appeal. Bahamas Air unveils the newest addition to its fleet. We've got those stories and so much more. I'm Paige Ferguson, and MB12 starts right now. Welcome once again to MB12. Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham caught members of the opposition off guard this afternoon when he abruptly moved to suspend the House of Assembly until near the end of May. Bonnie Toot caught up with the Prime Minister moments after that for an exclusive MB12 interview. Tonight, only one station can tell you what the Prime Minister had to say.
Just before 4:30 this afternoon, South Andros Member of Parliament Picewell Forbes was preparing to speak on the resolution by the government to convey land to some residents of South Andros. That's when Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham stood up and moved for the House of Assembly to be suspended until May 22nd.
Speaker, like I said, I don't want any arguments today. Mr. Speaker, I move the House to now suspend to May 22nd, 2012.
In an exclusive interview with NB12, Prime Minister Ingraham revealed that this was the last sitting of the House of Assembly, adding that the next meeting of the House will be after the upcoming general election.
The 22nd of May has nothing to do with when the election's going to be held.
You realize that?
That just happened to be the anniversary of the commencement of the sitting of this Parliament. That would make 5 years. So what will happen is at some point the Prime Minister will advise the Governor to dissolve the House and also fix a date for the election.
And how soon will we know when the election date is?
Well, you'll know sometime between now and the 2nd of May.
Okay. And you intend to dissolve the House on the 22nd of May?
If I don't dissolve it on the 22nd of May, the House will dissolve itself on the 23rd. It'll be dissolved before then.
Mr. Ingram's abrupt move did not sit well with Leader of the Opposition, Perry Christie. He told NB12 he was not surprised. However, he blasted the Prime Minister for suspending the business of the House before retiring members of Parliament like Cynthia Pratt and Oswald Ingram could bid a proper farewell to constituents they have served for 15 years and 10 years respectively.
Well, firstly, we came to Parliament expecting that we were going to have a fight today because we had a deal that the summing up on the Maguana bill would take place when we last met. And at the last moment, they suspended the House to today. So we came here determined not to let that happen that way. The Prime Minister indicated at the outset he was not prepared to debate. He came here for us to listen. One of the striking things about this is that this is the first time that I could remember where a sitting government has not given the courtesy notice to members who will be retiring that this is the last sitting and giving them an opportunity to say farewell to their country.
The Prime Minister acknowledges that he caught some MPs off guard, but he said this is the nature of the business. He says he is satisfied that his government has accomplished more than 90% of the goals on its legislative agenda.
We wish it was possible to do everything, but it was not possible.
Anything that you wanted to get done within that time that you haven't been able to do?
Several things, but I did all the things I could do. I don't want to focus on the minority of things, the vast majority of things. If you went down my manifesto and you ticked, you'd see it. It's a wonderful result in terms of making commitments and honouring them. There are two pieces of legislation I'm really sorry we never got to. One was to do with generation land, and the other to do with communist land. They're both fundamental in terms of empowering hundreds and thousands of Bahamians to have title to property that's bankable, that they can pass on to their children. Regrettably, I couldn't get that done this time. That would be high on the agenda next time.
Mr. Christie, however, is not impressed.
Whatever he claims, I do not know of an act in the history of this country that amounts to the level of incompetence that the roadworks have demonstrated and our Public Accounts Committee has revealed in Parliament. I do not know of any time in our history where we've had the level of crime existing. So he really ought to pause before he claims anything. Firstly, record murders, record crime levels. Secondly, I never expected to find that we would be $100 million, just about that, $100 million over budget.
While he regrets that Pratt and Ingram were not able to, quote, exit the House of Assembly in dignity, Mr. Christie says he's glad to finally be moving towards the election. He's confident that the Progressive Liberal Party will form the next government. Reporting for NB12, I'm Veronique Toot.
Well, as parliamentarians filed out of the lower chamber, St. Cecilia Member of Parliament Cynthia Mother Pratt sat on the stairs of the House on the brink of tears. She and South Eleuthera MP Oswald Ingram said they were shocked and disappointed that they were given no opportunity to bid farewell to their constituents.
I'm really disappointed. I'm disappointed because I believe that after you would have served for 15 years in this Parliament, the least I could have been granted is 5 minutes to say farewell and thank you to the Bahamian people who supported me for these many years. The many sponsors, the family islands. I was just shocked that it ended like this because I thought that they would have permit those of us who have already made known that we will not be offering ourselves for the next election, at least allow us to say farewell to the Bahamian people. I just thought it was so wrong because, you know, when we look at what was said in the other day, it wasn't contentious. It wasn't that you had to just shut it down like that. At least permit those of us who have given of ourselves over the past 15 years. My God, give me 5 minutes. I'm entitled to 5 minutes.
Personally, I feel it was a very ridiculous move because, you know, many of us have been here for a number of years and at least we ought to have been able to say thanks to our colleagues and, of course, our supporters. And, you know, just abruptly bring the thing to a close like that, I thought it was very much uncalled for, and we deserve better than that. You know, particularly as former speaker and knowing all the colleagues, I really wanted to say something to them as well, in addition to my constituents.
Well, High Rock Member of Parliament Kenneth Russell echoed those sentiments as he left the lower chamber. He said he believes the Prime Minister abruptly suspended the House because he was afraid of what some retiring members of the House would have to say.
Politics, leaders in politics and politicians like to have an upper hand, and I believe that the Prime Minister might have suspected that some persons would have gotten negative and become political in their farewell. And he decided that he's going to not allow that to take place because some persons might have said some things that would cause a public support reduction on the government. But I don't know. I don't care what happened. I don't care what the reasons are. People especially those of us who've been here for 15 years, like Member St. Cecilia said, we should have been given an opportunity.
Well, as always, you can pick up a copy of tomorrow's Nassau Guardian for more details on this story. Now, 2 weeks ago, the Court of Appeals proceedings were delayed after prisoners were late for court. Court of Appeal President Justice Anita Allen made it a point to get to the bottom of prisoner tardiness and summoned Prison Superintendent Dr. Alliston Ramming to court. Christina McNeil was there as Ramming revealed the challenges of transporting prisoners.
The new remand court at Her Majesty's Prison has reduced the number of prisoners that need transportation to the magistrate's court on a daily basis. However, Ramming admits there are still challenges with transporting prisoners.
According to Ramming, those measures include driving prisoners to court in his personal vehicle if necessary. Ramming apologized to justices of the appellate court for the late arrival of prisoners on March 13th. It was on that day that the Court of Appeals proceedings could not get underway promptly at 10 a.m. because prisoners were not punctual. It was at that time that a senior police officer explained it was not the police's duty to transport prisoners to court. Rather, the two agencies have a cooperative relationship relationship that makes it possible for prisoners to get to court if the prison bus is out of commission. Today, Ramming explained that the tardiness was a result of two factors. The prison bus had been involved in a crash the previous week and was still being repaired, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force bus that was supposed to pick up prisoners had broken down. Since that incident, Ramming explained that prison officials have ordered a bus and expect it to begin transporting prisoners soon. Trying to get to the bottom of the transportation issue, Justice Allen probed deeper, asking what time prisoners are prepared for court and what time transportation arrives at the prison. Ramming said inmates are ready for court beginning at 6:30 a.m. and are at the gate for transport between 8:30 and 8:45. However, he added that the buses typically do not arrive until 9:15. Justice Allen advised that 9:15 is too late for prisoners to leave the compound, and they should leave at 9 a.m. the latest, considering they have to stop at the Central Police Station before proceeding to the courts. Ramming agreed that shifting the pickup time is a realizable goal.
Although Her Majesty's Prison still does not yet have its own form of reliable transportation to get prisoners to and from the courts, today Prison Superintendent Ellison Ramming told the Court of Appeal he will ensure that prisoners get to the courts by any means necessary.
Ramming told appellate court justices that inmates still have to be transported by bus to the remand court, which is less than 2 minutes away from the prison compound. He said it would be a security nightmare to walk prisoners there. The remand court also begins at 10 a.m. However, Justice Allen questioned why the remand courts could not begin at a later time. That, Ramming says, is out of his hands. Meanwhile, he added that some remand prisoners still have to be transported to the magistrates' court as per the request of certain magistrates. As Ramming committed to getting prisoners to courts on time moving forward, Justice Allen said the court accepts his apologies and explanations and expects for prisoners to arrive promptly at court in the future. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.